How are you? Can you play it? Anybody know what is this sound for? Anybody knows? I don't think the new generation knows, but I do. It was the most beautiful sound that you ever hear as a teenager. Nobody knows what is this sound? 1, 2, wow, that's amazing. Great. Back at those days, there was a group, they wanted to have independence for the internet, and they declare independence. It's a very long, but you can check it on the internet. The whole idea was, we want to make sure that the internet was only for us. But imagine if that happened. I cannot check my bank account today. I cannot pay my utility bill. I cannot book an airline, e-commerce, that will be affected. So, today, we're having crypto. And we're having more and more legit investors coming. And we see even banks are coming into crypto. So the challenge here, we want to be more open and we want to understand how to embrace this. How can we work with different entities and not to keep it close? And that's exactly our job. So let me introduce myself. My name is Issa. I work with Chainalysis. Anybody heard about Chainalysis before? Great. Okay. So we work with different entities, usually government entities, exchanges, financial institutes, banks, regulators, to build trust in the blockchain, to get that kind of legit investors coming and working with you, to make those banks coming and allowing those kind of on-ramp and off-ramp of assets. We don't sell crypto projects. Yes, we do accept crypto as a payment, but we don't promote any crypto projects. So I'm here to discuss more and understand more how can we together build that kind of ecosystem and grow it together, especially that in Turkey, there is a huge potential. So let's start from the very beginning. We see it's $3 trillion of asset movement in crypto. And it's not only doubling, it's tripling within each and every year. But with this kind of opportunity, there's still a kind of a challenge. Because there are people who want to take those kind of opportunities from you, which is illicit activity, related to the darknet market, related to terrorist group, and it's a lot. And I will show you by the number how it is. But those are few. I have just few hours ago a scam that happened. Anybody here got scammed in his crypto wallet? No one? Come on. It happens. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure it is clean. We want to make sure nobody is going to scam you or scam one of your relatives. We have lots and lots of cases that are happening every day, and scamming is only one part of it. But there is ransomware, there child abuse, there terrorist group trying to use your innovative technology that we have it in that generation now. And we're in the center of the world. You can see some assets, and again, it's not about a certain country. I'm based out of Dubai. We have different exchanges from different countries. We have from Russia. The case is not just from a certain country. The case is that you can be in a certain country, but you're actually getting your asset from the US or France, but it's coming from the darknet market. And you want to make sure that asset is clean. Whoever you're interacting with, that interaction is happening not from a stolen fund or terrorist group, but it's much more following the regulations in the country. And each and every country, they have their own regulation and law enforcement guidelines. But let's talk specifically about Turkey. How do we see it? So it's number one across the Middle East when it comes to crypto adoption and the asset movement itself. And we're talking about $170 billion interacting in crypto in Turkey. And that's based on analytics and our team that analyzes the blockchain and give you that kind of understanding. Anybody can guess what is the percentage of illicit activity as a number? 7%. Okay. Anyone else? 7%. 1%. Okay. You're right. But even though that 1%, let's talk about what is it? It's $3 billion. And that $3 billion is not a small amount. So imagine you have your own wallet and you're interacting with an entity, and that entity just scam you, or you send you some asset that is coming from terrorist group. And later on, you're trying to interact with, let's say, Binance or Kraken, and suddenly they quarantine your asset. It happens a lot. That you send them an asset and they tell you, sorry, it's related to a terrorist group, it's related to a scam. But yeah, but I got it and I already made the transfer. But you didn't know that asset is actually coming from illicit activity. That's what kind of data that we're providing, and usually those are to investors and exchanges. I know a lot of us here, maybe they're investors, they cannot have those kind of insight directly in our tool to understand what kind of illicit activity that their wallet is related, but working with exchanges that are regulated, they're working directly with Chainalysis to get this data, it's much more reliable for you. Those data or those ransomware or those scams or any illicit activity is not just Chainalysis, investigators are doing that. We work with law enforcement. Take, for example, Turkey. We work with the Turkish police to understand those kind of illicit activity and give it to you directly. So make it very simple. We give you the key to the government data, but the government wants you to see this data. They don't want you to interact with any illicit activity. So we have 1,500 as we speak investigator now, checking what kind of illicit activity. And of course, if anybody gets scammed, the first step is to go to the law enforcement. You need to report, because nobody will ever know that that's a scam wallet, that's an entity that scammed you, unless that you can have that kind of reporting. And of course, you need to interact also with the exchange that you're working with. I hope that it's regulated and in country, because it's kind of difficult that it's not in your own country. So those are the entity that we work with. We're talking about the law enforcement intelligence, because we work with the army also, because fighting terrorists is much more related, and it's related again to crypto, which is the bad thing. They're trying to use the technology that you guys built, and they're trying to use it in a very bad way. And with the ecosystem, we're trying to stop it together. Great. So the kind of insight that we give usually to the investors, we give it to the exchanges, and lots of exchanges also in the Middle East, they're working directly with us. It's even by the police case. So you can directly check if that's a darknet market, if that's a high-risk exchange. And sometimes in a certain situation that you might have an exchange or a wallet, you're interacting with different entity, and you don't see where this asset is coming from, and suddenly your wallet is high-risky wallet. And if somebody, you're transferring any asset to that person, when he transfers it to a regulated exchange like Binance or Kraken, the amount will get quarantined. We don't want that. We want to make sure all of your asset that you have been receiving, all of your asset that you're sending, it's not related to illicit activity. Lots of people, they think it's in the blockchain, it's very hard to trace it. Crypto is much more transparent than fiat. And all the transaction happening in the blockchain will be there, even for your grandkids to see it. Some cases we had to solve it, not only with normal hackers, no, some cases that we have to solve it with government. So we go head to head with the Lazarus group from North Korea. Anybody knows AXA Infinity? AXA Infinity gaming company got hacked for $600 million. So we work with them, and it was the Lazarus group. So what we do also, we trace the funds. We can help certain governments and certain companies and exchanges and investors to trace the asset and to report it to the law enforcement for you to get that asset back. It looks very complicated, but anybody using Chainalysis and using our tool, they get that kind of training to investigate and understand where his asset coming from and where is it leaving. And that's the importance of it. The importance is you are not there sitting in a room and receiving asset or sending asset without knowing where it is. Get it So that is my presentation for today, but I'm always open for questions. Anybody have a question now? Still have 1 minute. Okay. I'm here today, I'm here tomorrow. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you.